Okay, welcome to Make a Path Presents. I'm Ronnie Hayes, and I was struggling with whether or not to talk about this. I did record another video, but I went off the rails on that one. I'll try to stay on topic. We're going to talk about the brand new, and just in case you haven't heard, the other day they announced a new spin-off, yet again, for the Walking Dead TV show. This one is splintering off the popular characters Maggie and Negan, our favorite makes total sense couple, into a new TV show called Isle of the Dead. The reason I'm even talking about this, it's been a while since I talked about The Walking Dead, but the reason I'm talking about this is because of where it takes place. And again, I'm trying to discuss this amongst you, but also kind of set it up for some who might have missed the news. That's pretty much it. Maggie, Negan, after the main show, once the main show is over, it's their own spin-off, separate title, Isle of the Dead. Title's pretty stupid. I think it's more reminiscent of a direct-to-DVD, Survival of the Dead, Diary of the Dead, you know, those type of the Dead crap. Anyhow, and it's got terrible art to introduce us to this idea. It's like they put a knife to the intern's throat and they said, "You want to work here? You got 16 minutes. You got 12 minutes? Scratch that. You got 8 minutes. Make us a piece of image so we can give this out on social media to promote it." The intern was like, 5 minutes later, here you go. Anyhow, but that's pretty much it. And it takes place in Manhattan, or at least that's the desired location, the gimmicked location, because I have some concerns. Again, Jeffrey Dean Morgan is saying this is going to reinvent The Walking Dead. When I hear that, reinvent The Walking Dead, Manhattan, we've got Lauren Cohan, Jeffrey Dean Morgan. That seems like a powerhouse. Conceptually, that's a powerhouse. There's one flaw. One huge, disastrous flaw. AMC. That's the biggest flaw of all. Now, AMC started with The Walking Dead. Actually, let me put this out there just before I forget. I do want to update you. I am finishing up the letters for Doomsday Kingdom, issue 5 and 6. You can go ahead and put your pre-orders in. This is the final week that we can guarantee pre-orders are going to be open. After that, it's going to be touch and go. Remember, international orders are kind of down for now. We will come back and fulfill some international orders. Right now, we're only doing USA and the UK. I think, I forget if we have Canada situated. It's a whole ordeal, but we're going to work on it. International will come later. If you want to get the volume 1, we still have some left. I just shipped 5 of these out. We're still, and once we're sold out of that, like I said before, totally done. So we're down to about like 30 or 35 left. Anyhow, Doomsday Kingdom, issue 5 and 6 for the very first time in physical form. And there's additional like posters and stuff, like sketch cards. Anyhow, excited about this. Locked in my first YouTuber cameo for my Halloween Flaw vs. Awe review. Coming soon. Excited. If you haven't seen a video from those guys, we watched a movie. Check out their channel. Mike and Jay. Friggin' awesome guys. That's going to be fun. Stay tuned for that. But anyhow, The Walking Dead on AMC started out, and it was... It changed the genre. It was what we needed for the zombie genre at the time. And then it kind of turned into a show with a whole bunch of hang-ups, actors splintering off doing other things, less successful, unsuccessful spin-off shows, a budget that strangles the creativity and keeps it from really being more than just a repetitive mess almost. So season 11 is going to be the final season. And then the first spinoff was Fear the Walking Dead. And here's where my concerns are. Fear was hyped as The Walking Dead on the West Coast, in LA. Walking Dead, LA. Boom. Landscape game changer. What we got, though, was LA in the credit sequence. Couple establishing shots. Quickly, they went from LA, I think in 3 episodes, they put us indoor in like some community. And then they went from that to quickly put us on a boat and then to like New Mexico. We were in the desert. And then finally, we're somewhere in a confused crossover. They got rid of the old lead. Now they're bringing the old lead back. It's a mess. Anyhow, Fear the Walking Dead was the first official spinoff. Then we had, in my opinion, the disaster World Beyond. Maybe it's not a disaster, but I feel like it was just thrown out there to make money as cheaply as possible. World Beyond, they were targeting younger audience to make money, hoping to boost up some ratings and, again, to lock in the younger audience. That was their main goal. And the gimmick was to tie in Rick and the CMR. And I think that's one of the biggest problems, AMC, with their gimmicks. They bait us. And I feel there's nothing of substance here. As a matter of fact, the biggest thing that come out of World Beyond was an end credits sequence of fast zombies. And we might get that with the new show, Isle of the Dead, because Manhattan, I'll show images for those who have no idea what Manhattan looks like. But that moves us over to our third spinoff, Tales of the Walking Dead. This is up in the air. It can be old characters, new characters. One thing I think would be really interesting for Tales of the Walking Dead, because this is the anthology of the Walking Dead. This is experimental, or at least the potential is experimental. They can do whatever they want. Since it's an anthology, and they struggle, it feels, or in my opinion, I should say, they struggle having characters in the seasons over and over again. World Beyond, they struggled getting us to connect with those characters over like 20 episodes. The majority of viewers, because the fan base just dropped off in a big way. Tales of the Walking Dead is going to try to do that in 1 hour blocks. And I'm afraid they're going to resort to gimmicks. And the most watched episodes will be the rare, really good ones. And then, showcasing characters that have already been on the show or from different Walking Dead projects, stuff like that. But I think it would be great to see some experimentation with this. In one of the episodes, show character A, let's call her Asian female character, just as a generic example. And then in season 2 of Tales of the Walking Dead, in season 1, that one episode had her early in the apocalypse, during the outbreak. And then season 2, we catch up with her, and, we can put the pieces together of what happened with her, but now she's in a community, and we see a day in her life of something exciting. And then in season 3, we revisit her, and the community's destroyed, or yada, yada, yada. I don't know. Go any direction with it. And we put a lot of the pieces together by what we see in the episode. Experimental stuff like that with an anthology, it still keeps the anthology, but it also creates a new character, and we revisit them, and they could do something clever with it. So I'm holding out hope for Tales, but And then the I Am Rick Grimes movies, we don't know what's going to go on. We don't even know the title. The Ride Among the Dead, again, we don't have a title. This is where they're splintering off, and that's something that we kind of soft revealed on the channel. We got some rumors and some sources years ago of The Walking Dead having meetings discussing the potential of splintering the main show and taking the more popular characters and putting them in their own show. Well, now it's, 4 or 5 years later, and that's exactly what they're doing. They positioned, and this is all stuff we were talking about years ago, they positioned Scott Gimple instead of a showrunner, controlling the chief content officer, who's making sure everything in the whole franchise lines up. And he's also, again, a part of Isle of the Dead. And then you have, you guys know all the other, how everything's splintered off. And it's now the main show, and this is what connects to part of it. The main show has or had other issues with it. See, it's not just a simple fact of creatively ending the main show. Here's some information that was from an old Hollywood Reporter article about some of the deals that happens behind the scenes. Now, let me just read you these 2 paragraphs. But by launching a new spin-off, whoops, what are you doing there? By launching a new spin-off featuring The Walking Dead's 2 most popular characters, AMC will have the option to sell international and streaming rights to the series while also reducing the show's budget and licensing fees. That's scary. Reducing the budget and licensing fees. Now again, Isle of the Dead, they're talking about the Carol Darrell spinoff, but Isle of the Dead, same idea. Same thing. Once they get rid of the main show, they were locked in for years with these, and this plays into the lawsuit with Frank Darabont. That was all settled. He's no longer going to get credits, if I remember right, and he's already paid off. But this is when they were talking about the Darrell and Carol spinoff. It says here the plan is to end the show around season 11, and that was put into place well before Charlie, who was the original, one of the original AMC's president, who originally greenlit The Walking Dead for AMC, and he departed in 2018. So that shows you how old the plan was. As for, this is a little tidbit, as for seasons 10 and 11, adding extra episodes to kind of buff up the seasons, it was actually made sense, and in the article, I should just read the damn article. It comes down to economics. The so-called supersized seasons help to keep the actors' salaries and the show's overall budget the same. Taking together, or if you take the extra episodes together, they could make a 14-episode 12th season. However, that would trigger things like a salary increase. I know we did discuss some of the stuff pertaining to the bloated new seasons. I wanted to throw that in there. Now, here's the showrunner for Isle of the Dead. I didn't recognize the name, and Eli Journe. Anyway, he is, in the article it says he's been in there for a while. However, he's only credited as early as 2019. And he's in here for executive producer, and he's only written 3 episodes. So I'm not really sure there. The 3 episodes were story by, he didn't even write that one, A Certain Doom. He came up with the story concept. And then written by A Walk With Us from 2020. And then What It Always Is from 2019. Now, maybe his, 2020 to 2022, maybe that gap was putting the show together for Isle of the Dead. He might even have the 6 episodes done, and he might even, as far as written, he might have a lot of work and pre-production stuff set up as far as conceptually. So maybe that's what he was doing in between then and now. Anyhow, here's Manhattan for anyone needing an idea. And this is what I say about running zombies. See how this is funny because here's a real bridge. Here's another bridge. Here's one here, but here's another. These red lines are if people had cars. I believe this article was talking about what it would look like if people actually had cars that live there. Everybody, if they had cars. Anyhow, here's more images of Manhattan. Here's the 5 boroughs. This doesn't help you. Bronx, Queens, Brooklyn, and Staten Island. Now, let's back up out of this. This is to give you an idea of what Manhattan looks like. If you're not from the U.S., maybe you are from the U.S., but you've never came to Manhattan. Now, look, Jeffrey Dean Morgan talks in this one article about, right here, this is Jeffrey Dean Morgan talking. Morgan, meanwhile, first joined, yada, yada, yada. They get the season wrong, but it doesn't matter. He says, I'm delighted that Negan and Maggie's journey will continue. It's been such a ride walking in Negan's shoes. I'm beyond excited to continue his journey in New York City with Lauren. Walkers in an urban setting has always been a cool image. I agree. But Fifth Avenue, Empire State Building, Statue of Liberty, the greatest city in the world, question mark, question mark. The backdrop is amazing, but it's the story that Eli cooked up that's even better. Buckle up, folks. Isle of the Dead is going to reinvent the Walking Dead universe. Huge thank you to yada, 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 yada. Now, here's the thing. I hope that's true. I really, really, really friggin' wish that's true because, again, conceptually, that sounds amazing. Now, let's go to, where's Fifth Ave? If we go down here to Fifth Ave, right? This will give you an idea. Here's Fifth Ave. Let's just cruise down. Shit, you know what? That's not going to work, but screw it. You're going to get an idea anyhow. Look at this. Now, this is just one street we're going down, we're going to jump down another street here in a second. The potential, what is this? East 95th Street? The potential is there. Oh, I screwed it all up. Maybe I'm going way too fast, but look at this. The potential is there for rich environments. But remember, Fear the Walking Dead, same gimmick. They show us a little bit, then they put us inside. Here's some outdoor dining. You can have the remnants of an outdoor restaurant just obliterated for a decade of stuff that's barely even there. Remnants of what it used to be. Hopefully most of it is post-apocalyptic and we're not going to immediately run into established cities and areas and shit like that. You guys can pause and read this if you want, or check out the news article. Maggie says the same thing. I do want to mention Lauren Cohan and Jeffrey Dean Morgan have acted in, they were in the DC movie, was it Justice League or Batman v Superman? They were in another movie, I think, together. And they also, oh, what's this? And they also, they friends and colleagues on this. It's not just them with their characters, but it's also them as friends being excited. Let's do this, yada, yada, yada. Now, me as a fan, I would almost bet. If I was a betting man, I would say eventually they're going to have Maggie and Negan get together. They just have cheap writing like that. This looks friggin' cool. I like this. I like that a lot. That is cool. I mean, I've never been here. There's a ton. I mean, most of Manhattan I've never even been to. But this, I don't know. This stands out. I don't even think of this when I think of Manhattan. I like that, though. This reminds me of back home. Maybe that's why. Pennsylvania. Something about this, though. It's really cool. I like that. This is more like where I'm from. You have a lot of places like this, and then you pop up into like a little town, a little mini city. Looks cool. It has the potential. But like I said before, one of the things with Maggie and Negan, those characters, they should never go past a certain point. Even as allies, even as friends. Forget romance. Romance should be off the table. There should or could be some sort of mentoring, like some of Negan's more devious but smart, some of those clever, devious leadership skills could and should rub off on Maggie, but some of Maggie's more, compassionate, understanding should and could rub off on him. Because again, originally he had some of those traits, especially if they stick with his origin story. His origin story was a lazy way at compassion. It was, all these idiots are getting themselves killed. If I dramatically shock their system by killing one of them and putting them under a system of law and order, and eventually he became a king, and he overindulged and it kind of got away from him. His moral foundation crumbled to some degree, but he had that foundation, so it wouldn't be totally out of the way. But Negan's already crossed that line, so there's always going to be some reflections of old Negan in there. Anyhow, the lawsuit is interesting as well. I don't know if you want to check out some of that, but in the lawsuit it does talk about the budget, and here's the final thing I want to talk about. AMC's budget usually hovered around $30 million for all 16 episodes. That's based off of the source I had that I trusted the most, the last source for The Walking Dead's budget was $1.8 million. And that's been years now. I believe that even more to this day, reading some of the information based off of the lawsuits. Because the lawsuit even talks about how AMC did this perpetual license fee. And it breaks it down here, and it even says it capped it at, funnily enough, 1.7 million, just under 1.8 million. And that was the cap. Now, they had this thing where the budget was 65%. I'm sorry, the license fee was 65% of the budget. So if that's the, if you take that for the budget for, this will break down into why it was unfair. If you read some of this, this breaks down to why it was unfair for what they paid Frank Darabont. But my thing is, if they take that budget and apply it to the 6 episodes for the Isle of the Dead, we might stand a chance. Because this is as if The Walking Dead came out and said, yo, The Last of Us is on HBO, dropping 2023. It's going to have small towns. It's going to have rural. You're going to have woods. You're going to have cityscapes through some of it. They're going to be making early on an escape to get outside a quarantine zone through a city. And they got $10 million per episode as a budget. It's as if they thought, Last of Us is going to destroy the franchise. Because if Last of Us comes out and it is like, oh shit, there's a difference when I sit there on a review and I say, man, I'm telling you, it's the budget. That's why everything looks the same. Everything has this like look to it that's just blah. You get these establishing shots and it's got like a tease of post-apocalyptic, but it's got poor CGI. They place a couple, special effects with digital cars here and there and this, that, and the third. But when Last of Us comes out and fans see it and they see what that looks like, and then they go back to The Walking Dead, I'm telling you right now, it will not be the same. And then when they go to Isle of the Dead, it's going to be like going from sitting down a brand new movie that had a $200 million budget and then going to watch something on the CW. You're going to look at the costumes, Batman on the CW versus Batman in the movie theater. You're going to look at the costumes. You're going to look at the camera work, the city, the special effects, and you're just going to bounce. It's not even going to be, so the ratings are going to drop even more. It's as if The Walking Dead was like, bro, Last of Us is going to crush us. And in a way they will, because come on, you'll always have people watching The Walking Dead, but if you're getting a certain visual and it's repetitive, no matter how good the story is, you're going to struggle. I don't know. If they keep $5 million per episode, there's a fighting chance. And this could be amazing. You cannot promise New York City. You cannot promise Manhattan. Show it in the fucking credits. Show a couple establishing shots and them walking through the city. A couple cool glimpses. And then throw the characters indoors. Pretend like it's a 2-story, they're up like 30 floors and they're on, you know what I mean? Do like that CGI where they look out a window and it's like, oh, you're touching base with the landscape just a little bit, but in reality, they're fucking indoor or some other bullshit. It's not going to work that way. So I really hope they do something with the budget. I really hope they make this work. I'm keeping my eye on this. When they drop a trailer, we will know. If in the trailer we see a lot of this, a lot of establishing shot of a city, but then we see the main leads and some bullshit imagery behind them, some trees, some brickwork, some blah, 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 we fucking know they're going to set it up looking cool, but the majority of what we get is just going to be in front of sets, brick walls, and some other bullshits. They're going to make it look like it's downtown, meaning they show them in a wide and then they come in and film them in some bullshit Vancouver or something and pretend like it's New York. Because in order to scale up for some shots, they can just digitally add in the landscape, the skyline. Anyhow, thoughts and opinions down below. What do you think? Do you have hope? I want this to succeed. I don't have hope. And I didn't even talk about the connection to Rick or the CRM. fuck a connection. There should be no connection. Everything's gotta, every time we have a spinoff, they're going looking for Rick. It has something to do with the CRM. Who gives a shit? We're gonna have Rick movies. We don't need everything looking for Rick. And I want nothing more than the next Walking Dead thing to be a Rick movie. That's all I want. That's top of my list. But that doesn't mean I want all the spin-offs to go looking for him, because they're not going to find him. You can't have Rick movies and have Maggie, Michonne, Daryl, and Carol going looking for Rick. And we all forgot about Michonne, but she's supposed to be out there fucking doing something, you know? So don't forget, she should have her own little spin-off. Anyway, thoughts and opinions in the comment box. No, I don't want it to do anything. I don't want it to have anything to do with Rick. I want this to be fucking amazing in that landscape. Don't have them get together, though. That's fucking stupid. Thoughts and opinions down below. I'm done talking. It's your turn.